Moving on now to discuss something very important. How can we enhance the quality of the vulnerable, the underserved? That's the conversation we're having. What's been going on? Civil society organizations, foundations across the country and internationally have been doing several initiatives. Has it been effective and impactful? That's what we'll be discussing, and in the studio to discuss all of that is Madam Aji Rachel Robinson. She's the founder here at the Youth Foundation. Thank you so much for being part of the program.
Thank you for having me here.
Right, before we get into enhancing the quality of life for the vulnerable, let's talk about why does it not seem like it's impactful? We keep talking about initiatives and programs and outreaches that these organizations such as yourself keep doing. Sometimes it's empowerment here, sometimes it's skill acquisition. We've seen several, advocacy as well. But it seems like when you leave, the people are better at going back to where they started. So what is often the problem with getting sustainable impact that will bring about the development that will take this vulnerable and underserved out of that space?
Okay, thank you so much for that very important question. Like we said, we want to enhance the quality of life of the vulnerable. You know, Nigeria is one of the most populous black nation in the continent, and it is ranked how will I say 87 million people are undergoing poverty now, next to India in the whole world, and the index is 38.7% of people are in poverty right now. So the number is huge. So you see NGOs are working in communities. Many people are doing different intervention, ensuring that people are brought out of poverty. But because the number keeps increasing, you know, and not so many people are doing the same kind of work that we're doing, you find out that, yeah, people still keep going back to that poverty level, depending on the type of interventions that people do. Like for my organization, I would say that we do community-led, you know, interventions. This means that we want the communities to lead. So you see, some of the interventions that most NGOs do is mostly prescribed. Let me say like it's prescribed. Oh, go and do this. Go and give them money. Go and give them tomato. If somebody is hungry, if you give him tomato, he'll wait for you to come and give him tomato tomorrow. You need to teach the person how to what? How to catch the fish, how to enable himself to remain out of poverty. So we do those kind of intervention. We go to the community, we identify people that are vulnerable, we use a evidence-based method to find out who is actually really poor. So when we find out that these families are poor, sometimes it's also driven by, okay, are you poor because there's a health challenge, so you've used all your money to take care of the hospital bills, or the parents are dead. Usually we actually work with children, mostly children who are vulnerable. Maybe a parent or two parents have died. So we try to make sure that those children are brought out, are taken care of, so that they can go to school, they can learn, they can come out, we teach them skills, you know, based on the skills that they know they can do. So the community-led monitoring is saying that, okay, I'm in your community, I want to work with you, I want to empower you. What do you think, what is good about it? What is happening that is good in the community? What needs to be improved upon? What can you do to ensure that you improve it? So we empower the communities themselves to identify the needs of their community. Once they identify the needs of their community by themselves, they will begin to work towards ensuring that those things that they see, do we need a supermarket? Do we need to fix the road? Do we need to fix a school? Do we need to do this? So the communities themselves, by themselves, move in to make sure that those areas of needs are being met. Of course, we support them. Of course. Sometimes we support them but we actually want them. We do something called visioning.
What does that entail?
So the visioning is that when we go to a community, we ask you to envision your community in the next 5 years. So when they envision their community, how do you want it to be? What is working well, what is not working so well? We don't call the communities vulnerable or bad or underserved or underserved. Yeah. We say in every community there's something good happening and there's something bad happening. but we want to enhance the good. So strength-based approaches, we use strength-based approach. What is good? What can we, okay, what can be improved upon? What is not working so well that we can improve upon? So the communities themselves identify those things, and they begin to work. Okay, who amongst the community, who can, in the community, who can help you?
Right.
Who has this strength? Who are the people that can do it? Oh, this person has, they begin to identify people
within themselves.
Within themselves. So those communities begin to work. We set up a system in the place. We call them community monitoring, community management committees. When we set them up with all the areas of need, is it vulnerability of children? Is it child rights? Is it water? And sanitation? Is it electricity? Is it bad road? Is it food? Is it, what is it? So we set up mini subcommittees in this, you know, so they go themselves and begin to work. With our monitoring, of course, we ensure that they begin to work in those areas to ensure that the levels of vulnerability begin to reduce. You can't see a total change, turn around, but it's happening gradually. Before, we used to just go to the community and say, we want to send children to school. Bring the children, we pay school fees. But how they will,
it hasn't tackled exactly. It doesn't tackle the problem why they weren't in school in the first place.
What we do is that we empower the households. Again, that's another. We call this one household economic strengthening. So when we go to the household now, we find out, okay, you have 10 children. The husband has died. Oh, this. Okay, madam, what can you do? She will identify by herself. Oh, I was doing this. The business has died. Okay, we now train you on literacy, business and skills. When we do that, we now empower you with little money. You find that the money is not much sometimes, 20,000. You empower the woman. She gets back her, maybe her machine is bad, or we buy the machine for her. She starts, you know, is it a grinding machine? Is it a tailoring machine? Or is it a shop? All those things we do. In fact, there's a business here where that time we were able to empower. She was able to get loan from National Bank. From a bank.
It's okay to say nice. Yes, so okay. It's government. It's government. So
National Bank, and she was empowered with some money. And today her business is thriving because she came into our system, and we were able to link her. So we do all those things. We're able to also link households or businesses to secure, a little bit of small loans where they can also, pay back little by little.
Okay.
And
maybe
the household is now empowered. So it's step by step, little by little. So we do community interventions, we do household intervention, we do also children intervention. Like right now, we're also being supported to train about 50, let me say 100 adolescents and young persons in digital skills. Currently, we have a digital hub in Kurudu, where young people who are vulnerable, without this help, they will never have the opportunity. Right. So they are learning 14 skills.
14?
Yes. From digital, from robotics,
to website development, design,
app development, content creation, entrepreneurship and leadership, life planning, life building skills, catering, makeup artistry, what else? Nail tech development, photography and videography, name it. So we have 50 of them, 100 of them right now who are there in training for 6 months. After 6 months, we'll graduate. So
are there people who would not have to go to the conventional school?
Some of them are out of school. Some of them are just finished their secondary school.
Okay.
Instead of waiting, they are in the school.
Right.
We have young people 10 to 24 in the hub. In fact, because of how it's free, because we're being supported actually from CDC. But after these cohorts finish, we don't know what to do. Because it is open, new people are coming into the hub.
I can only imagine, because a lot of people want to be part of that. Right.
Now we're being stretched. We need support in that area, because we want to ensure that when these young people come out, are graduating in September, or let me call it in before then, August, they should have some kits to go with. Those that want to do the app development, they should have something to go with. Those that are doing the catering, they should have something to go with. Those that are doing the artistry should have something to do, you know, to go with. So we need that. The support is there. At least we have the building, we have the infrastructure is there, but even this infrastructure is limited.
Exactly.
Because we're doing outreaches in the communities around, telling people that this hub is there free for them to come in, to bring in their work. The place is stretched. We have over 150, and the hub would not take
everybody, of course.
So now people are trooping in,
and there's no space for
resources
them.
are limited, the space is limited, and the children really want it. And this are some of the interventions that we do to ensure that, you know, the next generation also does not enter into that
threshold of poverty
of 87 million people who are poor. If these people is a global village, you know, so they can begin to create all the apps and learn how to do designing. They can begin to, you know, network. Some of them are even building their website right now
and learning. Exactly.
So they begin to
these are contemporary skills that countries around the world are investing
for. So they can connect with the whole world while they are sitting down in Kurudu learning these skills. Some of them have gotten their certification. We've linked them up with online trainings. They're taking it up. In fact, they have their certification right now. They are going to get certification from our hub, and we hope that the world is listening to come and help other young people who might eventually come to the hub to learn one or two things. Like we said, we also do community development, community-led development, where we empower the communities themselves to take on their own change, to create their own change, to create their own vision for the communities they see, the families they see, so that this hunger, this lack of job, everything will stop. Okay, we also have another program that is coming up. We've not, you know, we've not launched it yet, but it's about to be launched, where we want to begin to train youths, go to the camp, train
youth corps
members on employability, to have employability skills. Because you find out that you can graduate, but most times we find out that your certificate does not mean that you have employability skills.
Exactly.
So
and several young
people go with the finish NYSC, and they're asking for so much money to be paid, but they are not bringing in that skill. So you find out that employment will be low. They will roam the streets for long. So we encourage them to take up volunteering. When they take up volunteering, they will learn those employability skills. And we want to do those training in the camps, so that as young people are coming out of those camps,
they will come equipped.
They will come equipped to the market. That way, vulnerability is what?
Reduced, right.
So that's how we enhance the quality of life of the vulnerable. Vulnerability means that you are exposed, or you can be, you know, you are vulnerable to harm, or, you know, or what will I say? Yeah, harm or hurt. So if you come out of the market and you don't have employability, you will be vulnerable, because you'll be hungry. If you're hungry, you can do things that, you know, can deter your values, and it can put you in a state of vulnerability to do things that you're not supposed to do, and you can be, how will I say, taken advantage of. So we want to reduce all those things, and these are the ways that we do ensure that we enhance the quality of life. Because if this young person comes out of the camp armed with the skills, we'll go with confidence, because you're talking about building the character of the person, building the confidence of the person, and building also the skills of that person to face the world the way it should. So let me stop here.
No, don't stop. Let's just still talk about you say Heal the Youth Foundation.
Yes.
And it's so exciting to hear the work you've been doing, just to ensure that, you know, young people are not in that threshold of being vulnerable and all that. However, does it concern you when you see these Gen Z, these Gen Zs?
Yeah.
Do you think they have their mind right, or we just have not understood them to give them the kind of intervention necessary or peculiar to this contemporary mindset of this youth? I don't know how else to coin it, because they have the smallest attention span. And I'm excited that you even have a hub that people are willing to attend. Very often, how do you judge it when it comes to intervention for this crop of youth?
You know, there are different, crop of youths. You find that there are those that do not have, are vulnerable. There are those that are, how will I say, we have, like my generation have brought up this to be entitled.
This entitlement, right?
Because of the way we raised them up.
Right.
Yeah, we did not build the, how will I say,
the need to attain
there's a word I'm looking for them to be able to weather the storm.
Okay.
Because we bring
resilience.
Resilience. We did not build resilience while raising them up. We have not exposed them to do things by themselves.
So we shielded them.
So we shielded them. They're so protected so much that they cannot fend for themselves. Parents are running to even universities to still take care of those that are in the university. So when they come out of the university, what do you think will still happen?
They'll still run back for, right.
So we did not build that sense of resilience, sense of I can do it myself, without depending on the parents.
But that's the I can do it myself that our generation is faulting our parents.
Yes.
They let us do it too much. So where do we get this balance?
The balance is in value creation, and having that sense of, not self, but how can we better things together?
Okay.
So the young people we're seeing today, yes, they grew up with the phones, they grew up with the world on their, but there are some things that you cannot close your eyes to. What is that process? Life is a process, and if you jump some of the phases,
you would go back.
You will go back. So what I would just appeal to the young people is to go through the process. Don't be in a hurry. That insert some values in you, the work that you do. Don't think you can live alone. Don't think you don't need anybody. You need everybody. You need the government. You need your parents. You need the society. You need everybody, because if you don't go
jump wrong, right,
you will see. That's why you find out that when they get to a certain stage, some things drive. If they start going into drugs, they start doing a lot of things because they are unable to cope with the pressure that the world will bring to them. Even when they attain some certain levels of satisfaction, or is it I say growth or wealth, you find
some certain level of success. That in itself is relative to them.
Yeah, so you find out that at that point, success also brings in its own responsibility. So if you are unable to balance those responsibilities, you find out that coping will be so deterred that you find out that
they now look for
depend on drugs, depend on other things to be able to cope with the society. So we appeal that go through the process, learn, get someone to mentor you. It's not bad. Get somebody to coach you, get somebody to learn from. What are the mistakes the other person
has done, and how can you ensure that
even the business you're building, get some businesses to mentor you so that you will not make some of the mistakes you and the person made, so that you can grow well and impact in the society that you are living in.
Okay, so whenever I meet people like you who are doing so much, and and there is appreciable effort, you can see the appreciable impact rather, I always ask, What happens to these interventions? Is it that you people do not coordinate yourselves to advise government as to the kind of interventions that would be effective and would impact, such as what you're doing? Imagine if it was government that had this elaborate hub. It will contain a lot of people. It will reach out to several other people rather. But we're seeing ourselves dishing out cash transfers as a means of alleviating poverty. Does it work? Is it something you stand by? And if it is not, why are you not petitioning this policy? I've been screaming it on this platform. What are we thinking?
Yes, in fact, you just asked the right question, and I want to thank you for that. The cash transfers are good.
Probably.
They are.
They're
because
sustainable.
there are some people that you cannot even do any intervention if you don't give them food first. And those cash transfers actually help households that are really poor to at least feed the family first. When you feed the family, then you begin to think of, is it not somebody that is full that can think of business or think of what to do for the family?
Can the government actually feed this family, sustaining this feeding?
The thing is, the cash transfers are good, but who are taking the cash transfer is the question. Is it the real vulnerable people that are on the list? In fact, right now we are trying to advocate also for the update of the NSR, that is the National Safety Registry. Because who are those on the because we are working with the vulnerable people, we are in the communities with them, we know their households, but most of them, we ask them, they are not on the register.
So that's quite surprising, because in Cross River State, not to hold brief for them, but in Cross River State, I will tell you, because I did my little research.
Okay.
I had to travel all the way back there, yes. And I know that it was quite thorough. It was so thorough that the taps that were given to the ad hoc staff was geographically marked.
Okay.
Yes. So I knew that they actually went everywhere to get these people and get those names. And while it might be a good thing to maybe give them these handouts for, is it sustainable? Is it a sustainable intervention?
The government can work with civil society organizations who have been doing this work. We have many civil society organizations. We belong to societies all over Nigeria. You understand, that are together, and they are working with real vulnerable children. Right. Yes, in the community. So they can work with them so that it will not just be the cash. As they are receiving this cash, we can come in with them and ensure that even this cash that they are receiving, once they finish the level of the hunger, we make sure there is food, we can begin to train them so that they can do something else with the money that they are receiving, so that they will not just depend on the money and just say, okay, because it's not sustainable. So once you do it in phases. You bring these people out, you train them, maybe you give them a business, or if it's farming, you help them with the farming implements, and through that, when you bring them out of vulnerability, you take another set of people and continue with them. That way it might be. But if you say one person is receiving, for how long with the person, and is the person really getting the money? Are they getting this money? That is another thing that we have to ask. So we need to know who are those people on the register. We need to authenticate that they are alive and they are actually receiving the money, and that they are not just receiving the money just waiting on government, because it's not sustainable.
Okay, before I let you go, what would be your suggestion for other civil society organizations that do their bit, but it often seems like needs assessment is not done? You get to a community, you just dish out what you think is what the community needs, but we've seen that severally before.
You see, the zeal of the people that want to do, you see, without the work of civil society, most people will not be doing well in the community. So, but I would advise most civil society organizations that before they do any intervention, they should ask the people what they want.
Exactly.
You should ask them. They are human beings. They know what they want. And if you find out that they don't know what they want, you guide them to teach them, give them a variety of options in which they can choose. Don't just say, this person needs this person needs this. You don't know what they need. that thing that you are thinking of, it might not be
what they need.
Yes, might not be what they need. So it is good to work. They say if you want to work for me, you should work with me.
Exactly.
So most NGOs work for themselves. They are not working for the people. So I advise, go do your little baseline assessment, find out what the people need. In fact, I heard one story that somebody just went to the community and said, we want to do this. Oh, they said, come. When they went, they chased them out of the community. So because you didn't really do your needs assessment, you didn't, go to find out what the people really need. You didn't do your community entry properly. And we in our NGO, we do proper community mapping, engagements, involvement. Before we begin the empowerment, we do a lot of things before we get to that point of empowering. So you need to engage, you need to inform, you need to involve, you need to empower, for the people to take. So that is my advice.
Thank you so much, Aji Rachel Robinson. Thank you so much for being part of the program. It's wonderful to see you so excited about the work that you do.
Thank you so much.
Right.